How do we keep hold of the black belts? So we've spent years taking them through the grades, all your Q grades and so on. They've now achieved black belt, first dan, first degree, whatever it is, the terminology you use. How do we keep hold of them? So I help my mentees a lot with obviously building a strong, successful, profitable, good cash flowing school. But in order to do that, one of the pieces of the puzzle that you need to fix is how we keep an hold of existing students. So again, on this channel, I've made other videos on how to, build on retention. Sorry, in general terms, we've talked about how to keep all of your lower grades and so on. Some of you may have even invested in my book. If you haven't, please do so. Not because of the couple of pounds I'll get, but because I know that it'll massively help you take your school to the next level. And the book's called How to Build a Highly Profitable School by me, Dervish. Today's video, I'm going to talk about how to keep hold of your black belts. So for us, really, in karate, you may be a karate, kai, you may be judo, jiu-jitsu, whatever style it is, okay? I'm not in any way saying that you need to shorten any cycles, definitely not. So in karate, it's normally 3.5, 4 years to achieve your first dan. And then from every dan grade, so first to second, you need to wait 2 years. Second to third, you need to wait 3 years. Third to fourth, you need to wait 4 years. Those are all minimum requirements and so on. So I am in no way saying you need to butcher the time frames, definitely not. However, one thing that we do need to understand is what got your students to black belt will keep them at black belt. So for us, I was doing lots of things wrong. And again, I mentioned this in my book. I mentioned this to mentees when I'm speaking to them as well. So our first black belt grading was in about 2008. So I opened up in January 2004, and I think it must have been, late 2008-ish. Only had 5 students going for black belt, but it was still all very old school. I'd done what my instructor did, and he did what his instructor did, and so on and like that. Now, what we need to do is make sure that we're regularly monitoring black belts, definitely, just as we have done throughout the Q grades and on what you class like as the under belts, the under black belts, and so on. So if now a student achieves black belt after 4 years of being with you and your school and your program and so on, if they were doing gradings every 2, 3, 4 months, they need to still keep doing gradings every 2, 3, 4 months. What you don't want to do is they pass in 1 month and then you don't see them then for a couple of months short of the 2 year period. Definitely not. You want to make sure that they keep regular, keep their attendance going and so on. You still need to keep them and treat them exactly the same as every other student. What you don't want to do is have invested that time. These now could potentially be, or you should always look at them as, additional instructors, additional, help on the mats and so on, people that are going to help your school grow to the next level. So again, I'll just mention it now. You need to make sure whatever got them to black belt will keep them at black belt. So our retention really started to go through the roof first when we started to renew students, when we got them committed to black belt. Definitely that massively helped our retention. And now when they achieved black belt, what used to happen was, you know this yourself really, they'll drop off, and a lot of it is down to your framing. So how did you frame them from day one and throughout that brown, white, yellow, orange, green, blue, purple, brown belt journey? You need to make sure that you frame them to say that the black belt is just the start. Black belt shows that you understand the basics. Any good, decent instructor will always say that. So if you're framing them the wrong way around, like I was doing back in 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, probably up to about 2010, I didn't know that I was framing them wrong, but hopefully I can help you. You should never say or suggest that black belt is like the finish line. That's one of the worst things you can do. Now, you'll understand this now being a black belt, high ranking grade. You might be first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, might be higher than me, seventh, eighth, Dan. We need to understand that black belt is not the finish line. You understand that, but you need to make sure your parents and your students understand that as well. Of course, you need to celebrate achieving that, classed as master grade, that black belt, but you need to make sure there's further things on from that as well. What you can't do is just repeat the same syllabus for 2 years without them learning anything new, because they will massively drop off. So some things that I would suggest, easy things that you can do: occasional black belt only classes, occasional black belt only seminars, black belt only, team, how can I say it now, team outings and so on, that type of thing. Now, I'm not saying you're going to turn it into, they're not in the black belt clique, the students, but make sure that there's something that only black belts can do. Black belts only can wear this type of suit. Black belts can only do the black belt seminars and the black belt classes. Black belts can only help out during class and so on. Again, I don't know you, unless you're one of my mentees, I don't know your particular school dynamics and so on, but you need to look after your black belts, because what I did for years was you train up these black belts for 3, 4, 5 years. They'd achieve Dan grade, and then the parents would say, right, we're going to have a few months off now. We're really, really happy. We'll be back soon, never to be seen again. Okay, and then that suddenly then you're starting back from square one again, and you're then trying to renew, or should I say, trying to build up instructors, and that should never be the case. So, of course, do small little things like black belt classes, black belt only seminars, a particular suit that they wear when they achieve Dan grade, of course, anything like that. But you also want to make sure that however frequently they were grading before, they're grading the same frequency again. So for us, it was a full colour grade every 4 months with a stripe belt grade in the middle every 2 months. Now again, a black belt's not going to change belt every 2 and 4 months, but just a little bit of a different tab on their belt to show them progression. So again, if they're 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, they're still going to enjoy seeing the progression steps further forward. Okay, as an adult yourself, again, we might not be bothered about little tabs on our belts and so on. I know I'm not really bothered about that, but for a lot of people, it's that tangible reward. It separates them when they're in line. So if you've got a first dan and a first dan, two first dans, one of them might only have 1 week's experience, another one might have 23 months experience, but yet they both look exactly the same when you're looking at the belt. So if you've got that differentiation amongst them, again, it helps with them knowing that they're getting closer to their goal. Now, another big thing you need to do this, okay? You need to automatically enroll them onto your CIT program, onto your Certified Instructor Training program. Regardless if they say they don't want to help out, they don't want to teach or any of that nonsense, as a black belt, it's their job to further the art, and it's their job to pass on knowledge to the younger students. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to relax and they're going to run all classes, definitely not. But when they're there, they should be doing little bits of teaching. And in an ideal situation, what we used to have, if their class was at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday, they'd help out at the 6 o'clock class. So they'd help out at the class before or the class after, which was always a lower graded class. So at that time, you're continually strengthening the bench. So I read a lot of autobiographies. I read a lot about successful coaches and so on, and they're continually strengthening the bench. And again, it links back to Pareto's principle. They're continually strengthening that 20% all of the time. So you want to make sure that as a black belt, or as your black belts come through, you're automatically enrolling them onto a certified instructor training program. Okay, you can charge for that if you wish, or it's free as part of it. It depends on how detailed it is, but you need to again keep them in the system. However frequent they've been grading before, they still need to grade that frequently. I'm not saying that they're going to achieve a new belt every 2-4 months, but at least something on the belt that symbolizes whereabouts they are. You need to also, again, small little things like offering black belt only seminars, black belt only classes. Now, when you're doing those, maybe introduce a guest instructor, maybe do, break off the syllabus, something like that. It can't be more of the same. There needs to be something else to get into that exclusive black belt only club. So again, going back to my first black belt grading, it was 2008-ish, 5 students, and then I didn't hold grading them for another year or 18 months. We might have had 6 or 7 students going from it, but some of the original 5 had then dropped off at that point. So, and then you'll know yourself, the higher up the Dan grade you go, the less students there are there. For you, it's in your best interest, if you're looking to build a sustainable, successful, profitable, cash flowing school, to keep hold of as many students as possible, but definitely black belts. Okay. What happens if one day you break your leg, break your arm, you can't teach? Who can you call on there? I've been there, all right. I've been the one-man band doing absolutely everything. What I'd call the chief dishwasher to head chef. I've done every single job, all of them. But you need to make sure you've got what we class as, what one of my great mentors used to say was good bench strength. You need to make sure that you keep taking steps forward to continually strengthen that bench all of the time. So listen, I need you to do me a favor though. Please subscribe to this channel, but please also like the video, because I need to know who's watching it. Obviously, YouTube tells me certain metrics and so on, but I need to know that there are people watching it. So please like the video. It's a small thing for you, but it'll really help me, because it lets me know whereabouts we are. And again, have a look on the channel as well. If there are any other martial arts school specific videos you'd like, drop it in the comments below this video, because I will try to do that. So again, if you haven't already done so, please invest in a copy of my book. It will massively help you grow your school. The title is How to Build a Highly Profitable Martial Arts School by me, Dervish. And once again, thanks for watching, but please subscribe and please like the video so I know who is and who isn't watching the video. So I hope that helped. And one more thing on how to keep your black belts. Get the parents involved, okay? If the parents are seeing the journey as a continual education piece, not just like a start and finish, you're going to keep them on board a lot more. If again you'd like me to help you build up your school, I can definitely do that. Without a doubt, I'll be able to take you to unbelievable levels. Just get in touch, book a discovery call. The website is dervish.com. So that website behind me is an older one. The website is dervish.com, and on there is a I think there's another slight web page, martial arts business education. So have a look at that. Or again, if you're getting the book, scan the QR code and it'll take you there. Good luck, everybody. Keep taking steps further forward, and all the best. Take care.